Welcome back to the Kovacs Report for another weekly comic book review show. My good buddy, Jimmy X.
Hey, Angelo.
Hello, mate. How's it going? So, this
Really
week,
good to see
it's
you,
been a
man.
hot week in the UK. It's good to see you too, my man. Good to see you. But has it been a hot week for comics, Jimmy, in your opinion?
Some really good books this week, yeah.
You got some really good books, right?
Thought
Probably
so.
less Marvel, DC, more indie, right?
Oh, yeah. Indie books, yeah.
Yeah. That seems to be the current trend, right? It really does. Okay, let's get straight into it. We're gonna take a look at the Detective Comics 2025 annual. Now, annuals are usually those sort of throwaway books, like you say, one and done books. Nothing
Yeah.
much happens. Kind of a way to sort of give you just a bit of extra, whatever character it is, and put some more money in DC's bank account. But I was hoping this was going to be Tom Taylor.
I mean, it
But
was originally, when it was solicited, it was meant to be Tom Taylor. And something happened, and now it's Al Ewing. I don't understand.
exactly,
But
exactly. No
yeah,
disrespect to Al Ewing,
given the
but
benefit of the doubt.
yeah,
But
I was hoping it was going to be another more tied into the current run book, but it
yeah.
isn't. It's a couple of one and done stories. So let's take a little looky. Okay. So the first story, because there's two stories here, there's a little short one at the end, is basically Batman gets this musical frequency that is transmitted to him, and he works out that it's Morse code. The Morse code leads him to the tech billionaire Cody Morse. Morse code, Cody Morse.
Yeah, I see
You
what
can
they
work
did
it
there.
out, right? So it leads him to his sort of, I don't know, super bunker that's underneath, I guess, the company's building. Now, the company is called Briar Technologies, right? So it's Cody Morse. Now, Briar, he's Cody's partner, and that's going to come important for two reasons, right? One not so good and one obvious. So, anyway, the impenetrable security systems are penetrated by Batman, of course, because he's the Batman, and he finds that the billionaire, Mr. Morse, is lying face down, full of his own blood, dagger in his back, and a message scrawled in blood: "Batman, do not solve my murder." So,
I mean, not too heavy-handed at all. I mean,
not too heavy-handed at all, right? So he, by the way, the art's by Stefano Raffaele, and he's done a reasonably good job here. Look, it
there's
fits actually.
there's a load of different artists for each
There are
chapter,
the
isn't
John
there?
McCrea and
It gave me
Fico Ossio as
whiplash.
well. Yeah, I know. I know. Right. So what happened? So Batman does this investigation. He realizes that no one's left. No one could have got out. So the murderer must still be in the building. There's no evidence to suggest that he. Yeah. So he does a little a bit of detective work. It leads him to the kitchen where he finds lots of knives there. Obviously, one of the knives is missing, and that's the knife in his back. And he gets to the sort of what do you call it? The game room, the recreation, where he discovers a note on the super tech system, right? It says man cave on to activate. So he says man cave on, the game's console comes on, the game controller levitates towards him. So we're implying here that this cave is super powered by tech, right? And it's all voice activated. So he thinks, okay, let's go back to the other rooms. He goes to the library, and there are actually no books there. It's just video screen. So he says, library on, of course, you can read a book. So he says, right, starting to figure some stuff out. So he goes back to the kitchen and says, kitchen on. And we discover that knives, they fly towards him. And he does his Batman stuff, and he catches all the knives, and he realizes that they've obviously been programmed to kill. And that's probably how our billionaire ended up dead, right? So, he got killed by one of these knives. While he's there, he discovers these books, right? And there's 5 books. And he notices that they're called How to End the Universe. They're disguised as cookbooks, but they're not. And there's pages ripped out of each of the copies. And it's all about quantum mechanics, right? So this whole thing is about tech. Now I'm going to try and do the next bits really quick because, to be honest with you, it wasn't a terrible story.
It was a long story.
It was yeah, a long story. So
Some would
it
say
leads him to
overly long,
England.
but
It leads him to England. Okay, he talks to a scientist. She discusses the quantum science because that professor who wrote the book used to be there, which then leads on to the publishing company, and he finds out that there is one extra copy. There's another copy of this book, right? Because there was only 5 in existence, but there's obviously the printer's proofing copy, which you usually get when you make a book. You get a copy, right? So long story short, he's going to track that down. Along the way, he gets called to something kicking off in the city, right? So the whole city is going bananas, and there's these weird ghosties which he fights, which are sort of like tech looking, and he finds out that they sort of If they touch you, they make you relive some of the worst memories of your life. Again, it's standard fare. And he does his detective thing, and he gets to this little sort of Z-list villain, and he says, "Oh, I've got the powers of John D, and within the city limits, I control everything. You're doomed." So he goes, "Oh, chase me!" So he chases Batman, and he goes, I'm out of breath chasing you." And Batman goes, "Yeah, but guess what? The city bounds changed years ago. You don't know your history. You're actually outside the city now." So he knocks him out. And the whole thing is formulaic. It's like, I need to do A. I've done A. It's really easy. Right, I need to do B now. So I do B, and it's really easy. So now I need to do C. And that's what this whole story is like. So he gets the book. He finds the fact that these pages are in there, and he learns the pages. And it leads him to the next part of this very formulaic adventure. Now, before I even get here, the greatest detective in the world, right, and any standard police officer investigating a murder of a businessman, what are the first suspects you would think of to interview, Jim?
The partner in a tech firm.
The business partner. Why hasn't he done that yet? Right? Or a spouse, right? They're the first two things you check, but he doesn't. But he's the world's greatest detective, right? So anyway, he gets called to this building, and it's heavily guarded by goons of the real villain. And he goes in there, and he's got the book, and he holds the book to ransom. And long story short, he beats all the goons up. And guess who he finds?
The partner of the tech firm.
The business partner. And he's got the professor from earlier tied up to a bomb. It's so old storytelling. It's like a 1970s story. And then it goes through I want to destroy the world. And those missing pages hold this mathematical equation where I can just, take over the world. I can destroy everything. And that's why the original billionaire with the knife to back said, "Don't solve my murder," because he knew that Batman would find the book, find the missing page, and those missing pages might fall into the hands of his business partner, the villain, and the world would end. Anyway, with some Batman trickery, he gives him part of the code, one of the pages, but what it does, it creates a smaller version of this world-destroying concept that we've created, right? And it encases him in it. He's trapped there forever, like frozen in time. And I was like, okay, that's the whole story. And then he goes back to his Batcave, and he's got the other pages, and it does this whole thing of like, now Batman has this information. Should Batman have this information? What would he do with it? If he went bad, what might happen? And that's the end of the story. And I thought, okay, it was very formulaic. It passed time, wasn't exciting. So, I mean, am I wrong?
No, I mean, it's just your classic lock room murder story that you can see on any procedural detective show. And Batman in New York was something I never thought I'd see. So tick that box. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But and leaving it as a cliffhanger ending is pointless because this is a one and done. So
maybe next year, the next annual, they'll continue it. But it was just like, why?
In my head. Also, I fell asleep reading this, so don't know what more to say.
Oh my god. Yeah, again, I mean, we're all as honest here. The art was nice enough. Like I say, it wasn't a bad story. It was just like a nothing burger, really. I think what the kids call it, right? The second story is much to shame. I said much the shame there instead of much the same, but I like that Freudian slip because, again, this whole story, this little short story, is basically about how terrible schools aren't funded in America. Basically, that's the underpinning story here.
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I like Joshua Hale Fialkov. Elks Run was a really, really cool limited series. I remember
that's a long time ago. That one.
It was really, really good stuff, and I think he's doing a sequel. I think that's coming soon.
All right, might be looking out for that.
Sorry, if you want to carry on talking about
No. I mean, if you've got thoughts, Jim, that's what we're here for. But to me, basically, whoops, we've got a new concept, guys. Working out.
We do have a new concept.
I
thought the idea that the school was built on one of Scarecrow's old hideouts, and all his classmates were hallucinating, and he worked it out because he's a huge Batman fan. And then Batman appears to him, and the cynic in me really wanted him to be a hallucination at the end, but no, it teams up with Batman, and they solve the mystery, and he gives him a lift home. So
I
really wanted to be a hallucination, but it wasn't. But there we go. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool.
we're thinking alike there, Jim. We're thinking alike. Yeah. So long story short is like you said. He's like this kid's the president of like the Batman Appreciation Society. I'm going to assume he's the only one in the Batman Appreciation Society because he's your typical kid that doesn't have friends, right? So he does a bit of investigating, like you say. Batman turns up, and Batman sort of uncharacteristically like sort of takes pity on him. Maybe he sees Robin in him. I don't know. So they investigate it together, and this kid's like a genius and everything else. And he finds out all sorts of bits and bobs that are just like, okay, boring, basically, and gives him a lift home. And that is it. It was just, there was particles of the fear toxin in there. And the thing is, this is what I would have liked the most as well, is at the end of it, he's just hallucinating and the Scarecrow's actually walking out of the school and is murdering children. That would have been a great story, but it wasn't another little sort of,
it was fluff, wasn't it? It was fluff.
Well, basically, with an annual, they want more pages, right, to justify the price, so they stuck to it. But again, it wasn't terrible. The art was actually quite nice. None of it's terrible. It's just not super exciting. And there he is getting a lift home, which will never happen.
I would really like to know what Tom Taylor had planned for that annual.
Oh, me too.
I guess we'll never know.
I'm loving his run. I mean, I did a solo review of the final part of that arc. Did you read the book?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It was really good. I kind of expected a bit more of a reveal, but all in all, I think it's one of the strongest Batman stories I've had in years.
I mean, at least it wasn't who we thought it was going to be. At least they signposted who it was going to be pretty obviously, and it wasn't. So I was happy with that.
I honestly, I know we're drifting away from the next book, but the scene I love the most in that last arc is when Batman phones up the girlfriend to find out if she's involved, and he's on screen, and it's like the call ends where she says she doesn't know, or he says that's not good enough, but he's outside waiting, and it was almost like based on what you say to me, this is what's going to determine what happened. I thought that part gave me chills. I thought that's so Batman. It was brilliant. Okay, let's get on to Fantastic Four, or in this case, Fantastic 2, because they've crossed out the 4. This is Ryan North and Cory Smith. I like a bit of Cory Smith art. You know what? Ryan North isn't one of my favourite creators. I will say that. I do need to read more of his stuff, so the jury is out.
Squirrel Girl, so fun.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll start there. So One World Under Doom is still running for all the Marvel books. I think that event, I don't think it's doing very well. I mean, and I'm not talking about sales numbers and a vocal fan base that actually posts on the internet, but I think in general it's not doing as well as some of the bigger events.
I like the first 2 issues, especially when the whole the whole Ben Grimm thing happened. It's tying into what's happening in this book.
Exactly.
But yeah, issue 3 was a step down in my opinion. Ooh. The Avengers and the Masters of Evil, that was just a story that didn't need to be told. But hopefully it'll pick up again. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking
Let's get into this book. So like you mentioned, in the main event, One World Under Doom, Doom very nonchalantly goes, "Hi Ben Grimm, I'm going to do what Reed can't. Boom, you're human again. No more rocks. Off you pop." Right? Which I thought that story in itself could have been a mini series. That could have been a really interesting, 3-issue mini tie-in of that story, because that's been a major part of the relationship of Reed and Ben throughout the existence of Fantastic Four, is his struggle to try and permanently return him to the man he was, right?
Yeah.
And I thought to just nonchalantly go like that wasn't enough. Now, in the main series, yes, and you get one of those little boxes and goes, check out how this, happened in the miniseries. That would have been great. But anyway, that's what this issue is about. And the art's really nice. Basically, we get this, you know what? This reminds me of, I'm not going to give it away because I've just watched Thunderbolts. I won't give it away. Maybe I have. Yeah. So basically, the premise is that those cosmic rays that bombarded the Fantastic Four and gave them all their powers, when one loses their powers, the other members of Fantastic Four, their powers also diminish. So they'll slowly return back to normal again. Now, this is interesting, right? So Ben's there chit-chatting about the whole situation, and they decide that he needs to try and get his powers back. So Reed, after some chit-chat, and some your normal Fantastic Four dialogue, and this. Do you know what? This is the part of the book which I thought they could have done without. Was this again slapstick fighting some Z-list villain?
I thought that was fun, man. That's a nice little Ryan North touch there. He does that really well. I can't
Honestly,
get behind that. I'm sorry. I enjoyed
oh
that.
man, for me, look.
Oh man, you fell for my trick.
Again, it's so 1960s, you know. Everyone's talking about bringing comics in and diversity and storylines and, you know, all this other stuff into the 2025, and then we revert back.
Fantastic Four is arguably the best, so why not evoke that? You know,
I don't know. I know it's on brand for the Fantastic Four and it has those moments, but for me, I was like, okay, let's just get to it. Anyway, what this little interlude did was facilitate the need to show that Johnny's powers are failing and Sue's powers are failing, and it did do that, right? So they go back and they have a chat about what they're going to do, what they're going to do about it, what they're going to do about it. Oh my God, I think I've got an idea. And they eventually realize that they can travel to different alternate universes. Now, I have a bit of a problem with that, and I'm going to get to it in a minute. So they'll travel to these... Yes. I mean, again, the book wasn't bad. It's actually a really great concept. I really like the idea. I really, really like the idea. I thought, wow, what a great idea. Say it 3 times. Say anyway, say it 3 times means I mean it. Yeah. So so they travel to these alternate universes to intercept the moment where their original ship was bombarded with the waves, right? Because they believe that if he gets hit with these waves again, it will return his powers, and then they can all return back to 616 universe with their powers intact. But it doesn't work, and they keep doing it and keep doing it and keep failing, right? And you show what happens to these other universes, right? And it's quite interesting. Anyway, I'm going to jump to near the end here. So basically what happens is that they're practically giving up, right? Sue has to use her like invisible shield force to shield them from the waves so that he gets the waves, and her power is running out. She's literally got like one left in her. And very quietly, Reed and Sue sort of make the agreement without talking to go to the one universe they haven't been to. Their own. Their very, very own universe.
Yeah, the one that Valeria warns about at the start.
Yes, she narrates this whole story. So what happens? What happens indeed? Well, they see their original selves there, and then they see Ben get his powers back and become the Thing, right? So they think that their mission's been a success. But then what happens is in that current timeline, because he's absorbed all of the majority of those cosmic rays, the rest of the team didn't get enough of those rays to give them their powers, which means the Fantastic Four never was. So that's the basic gist of it. Now, we end the panel with him screaming, yeah, I've got my powers, great, 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 as existence sort of starts to cease to exist. Now, I tell you one thing, I don't think Ben would... Well, did he know that if he took those cosmic rays, it would affect the other people and their cosmic rays?
I don't think he did. Because I can't imagine that he did.
Right, because I thought if he knew that, I don't think that Ben would do that. He wouldn't be that selfish. So I'm going to assume that.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm assuming that he didn't know.
No. I mean, he looks shocked, so it's like
he does look shocked. He does look shocked. So basically, what's happened, if I've got this right, because these last 4 panels basically show the current timeline with them fading out of existence, because if it didn't happen, they would not be here all these years later, right? Much like this TV show which I watched, what was it? Where they keep, there's a Star Trek cartoon, I think it's called, what's
Lower
it called?
Decks.
I can't remember. What's it?
Lower Decks.
Not Lower Decks. I love that. It's the other one. Is it Prodigy?
Oh, I haven't seen Prodigy.
It's pretty cool. And they talk about quantum mechanics and how it won't affect the timelines and everything like this. So it's like, this definitely does affect all the timelines. So it's had that knock-on effect. But why wasn't this a variable that Reed Richards would have thought about? You know, he's like the brainiac.
I mean, I think he's distracted by Doom at the moment. So
you think?
Yeah,
you think? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I wanted to like it more. I love the idea. I really do love the idea. I just think for me,
sorry. I don't
No,
know whether
go
you
for it.
read the previous issue or not, where Ben's dealing with losing his powers.
I did.
Oh, you did, yeah, and he gets mugged and he feels helpless, and he gets offered by Alicia Master's father, the puppet master, to to get his powers back, and he in the end he turns him down. That was a really cool. You can see he's at the end of his tether. This is the only chance that he's got to try and get his powers back, is to do this. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it. You know. Also, I liked in this issue that the conceit that one Fantastic Four member loses their powers, they all do, is dating back to when Marvel weren't really pushing the Fantastic Four or the X-Men because Fox owned the rights to them, and they quietly retired two of the Fantastic Four. All their powers went away, and then and the X-Men, they were replaced with the Inhumans for a long time. Seriously, they did. Look it up. They were.
I do. I remember.
They would try. I'm not saying it to you. I'm just saying to everybody who doesn't believe me that Marvel tried to replace the X-Men with the Inhumans, and the Fantastic Four, they tried to pretend they didn't exist. But that and this whole losing powers thing all harks back to that. So I thought that was interesting. Also, when they disappear at the end, I couldn't help but hear the Alan Silvestri Back to the Future music sting in my head. Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed this issue on the whole.
No, I did. And the more I think about it, the more I actually want to revise my thoughts on it, because I love the idea. I mean, it's an old idea. It's not like it hasn't been done before, but it is interesting. And I'm wondering if this has something to do with the movies too, right? Because again, if you watch the second end of credit scene in Thunderbolts,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, well, I think this is also trying to tie into Thunderbolts. I got a feeling it might do, and that's not a bad thing, because my quick review of Thunderbolts was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. I know, I was shocked too. I even went to the cinema to see it. But no, do you know what? It wasn't a bad book, was it really? There's a few things in there. I think for me, as I've got older, I like the sort of hammy sort of 60s, 70s thing a lot less. I like it a bit more. So maybe that's just me personally. It's a great story. It's a great idea. Yeah. And do you know what? I'm going to pick this book up again, back on the regular, and see where this story goes, because it is interesting. I'll give you that. It's worth pick up.
Yeah. Ryan North's no slouch.
Yeah. Do you know what? I am. You know what? I'm going to recommend it. Actually, I think now's a good point to jump on. Actually, yeah.
It is.
I know. Well, you know it is. You've been following it. Okay. Let's take a little moment here. I have done a solo review on this, and I made the solo review on this about 8 seconds after I saw the last panel of this page.
With good reason, my friend.
Because I was so excited. I was so excited. I preface or prefix every Ultimate Spider-Man review or discussion with the fact that it is the best Spider-Man book on the market now,
and that's true Spider-Man title.
Yeah, if you put all the controversy aside with Nick Lowe and Zeb Wells and all the other stuff that I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times if you follow this kind of stuff, right? And just look at the books at face value. This is Spider-Man to me. I love it. Although the ASM at the moment is 2 issues into this new relaunch, and it's not terrible, actually. It's all right. It's not terrible. Yeah, it's not terrible. So I think it is a vast improvement where it was. But this is a crown jewel. This is an absolute crown jewel. Hickman and Checchetto have absolutely nailed this on every single level. Let's get through it. So I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it again. So we got Gwen Stacy visiting Harry Osborn's grave because he was murdered by Craven in the previous issue, which you can check out the reviews or read the book. Right, long story short, he was Peter and Harry Osborn. They were kidnapped, taken to the Mole Man's world, and hunted by Craven. Oof. And I thought that was brutal until I read this issue. Right,
I love stuff like this, stuff where they pull back and they show you what you didn't see. Excellent, just top marks, Hickman.
100%. Because at the end of the issue, I thought, it's comics, right? They'll bring her back. And I thought, but how? So, I wanted to know what happens next, because that's kind of a big deal, because not only Harry Osborn is dead, the ultimate Green Goblin is essentially gone
it took
too.
him off the board. I was like, what?
Right, let's get into it. The people have waited long enough. Okay, so we get these really nice. This whole issue should be called Ultimate Gwen Stacy, right? And for good reason, because it's all about Gwen Stacy. And I tell you what,
argument there.
it was brilliant. It was perfect. What Hickman does here, he builds up your connection at first with Gwen. So we get these moments of their father, and they talk about the fact that they lost his wife, her mother, and that, to be honest, no one ever dies because they're kept in your heart. And throughout these pages, we also get the relationship between Harry and Gwen. We show, maybe one of their first dates. We see that relationship blossoming.
It's so beautifully fleshed out.
It is. I'm going to jump forward and jump back.
There's no need to do all this, Hickman, but you do it anyway, and I thank you for that.
And it adds to it because we're connecting even more to these characters that we already know, because most people who read these books already know all the history, already connected. And I think what this does is it kind of numbs you to everything, but this reconnects you. It's perfectly done. But this is important, right? So, important moment here where he basically says to Gwen, I hope you remember me as a good man. And as you get older, you may find some things out about me, but just remember I did it because I loved you and it was all for you. And I think, oh, what can that be? And his eyes go green. And I thought, why are his eyes going green?
Great
it's very goblin green. But let's switch this up. And then we jump straight to here. And we see Gwen Stacy sitting at a table with a very, very familiar Mysterio-looking dome in the middle of it, and 4 other Mysterio-dressed individuals. And we find out some amazing history. Mysterio is 5. Mysterio basically is one person to hold the amulet that grants the powers, right? And the 5 of them, the 4 others, they basically guide. They're basically... you kind of power it with all their knowledge and everything else, right? So it's like almost like a hive mind. I love the idea. I thought, wow, what an amazing twist. What an amazing twist. And what we learn is that Gwen Stacy's father, he was one of the 5, and now he has died. She has to take his place. It's like a birthright. We also find out that Gwen Stacy is also the next in line to take the amulet itself. So before you've got even time to swallow that, right? Before you even go, wow, that's amazing. We jump back to more relationship parts where we see, Gwen get married to Harry, and I love it. I love it. So again, I'm just getting more connected, right? But there's a little hidden gem in this double page spread, which I'll get to. But what I do like about it is it shows that Gwen isn't that character that you're normally used to in the older books, where she's a pushover. She's like a side character. Harry's father, of course, in his usual bastard style, pulls her away to a dance, and says that he told his own son that he told Gwen that she could have done better. I'm thinking that's the thing you say to your son, but it shows he's bastard. But she's straight on it. She goes, "That's why I told your wife." So you show that it's this girl. She's got some balls, right? But Jimmy, I don't know if you noticed it. If you look in the bottom panel in the crowd, right at the back at the right-hand side.
I did see that, yeah.
There's a Mysterio there. I thought, what a lovely touch. Because he didn't need to do that. But by doing that, just makes me love it even more. Anyway, we get their Christmas together and we find out she's into conspiracy theories. He loves her. And then we find out what this coven of Mysterios is about. It's basically, they believe that the world is a lie. There's actually 2 worlds running in parallel.
Because it is.
Because it is, right? So there's 616.
If you want, read Ultimate Invasion also by Hickman if you want details on that.
Exactly. So there's 616 and there's 6160. That one being the alternate universe, and they want to expose this to the world, and they say we should just tell everybody. And then this all plays into all the other stuff you read about why Gwen wanted to help them, Jonah and Ben, with the paper, right? Because it's a vehicle to get information out to the masses. We find out that she believes that there's a better way. There's a better way of getting this out into the public rather than just throwing it out there and seeing what happens. So anyway, also, Quentin.
Sorry, man. Also, I love the Easter egg with the book that Harry gives her because, Jericho Drum. It's Brother Voodoo. It's Brother Voodoo. Such a cool little geeky nod. No need to do that again, but there we go. He did it again.
The thing is, I saw it and thought there's got to be a nod there, right? And it didn't twig, so I'll be honest. I Googled it and went, I knew there was, so I got it. So, it's so cool.
I love it.
Oh, man, it's so cool. And, I'm going to talk about the art while we're here. Like, when we go to these different moments, the color palette changed and everything else, and it's just so atmospheric. I don't know why anyone just can moan about this book because it is beautiful. Anyway, again, we notice the relationship's blossoming still. Peter and Mary Jane enter the fray, and you see these sort of like ghosty visions or well, I guess he's actually there, right? But he's using his Mysterio powers to not be seen, right? And
it's a cool effect.
Yeah, I love it. But what I like about it is it shows that Gwen's been hiding this secret for a long time, and you know her character is so. It's just not one-dimensional anymore. It's much more interesting. So when you go back and reread all this other stuff, it kind of recontextualizes it. As Mysterio been there, Mr. Mysterio know all this other stuff's going. Like, what's going on?
You mean I might do that? I might go back and read it all, knowing what I know now, and it'll be completely different.
Exactly. Right. So this is a little moment where Harry and Gwen and I think Doc Ock in the background, they're talking about, you know, the plan, you know, with the Maker and everything else, blah, 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 blah. It's really, really cool. But the important thing is that when she gets, a few months later, she's at home, she is visited by Mysterio. And he says, listen, I know what's going on. So Craven has kidnapped Harry, kidnapped Peter. This is what's happened to him. And someone needs to do something about it because, you know, they're going to die. And then we quickly jump, right? We quickly jump to this next page because Mysterio also told that she's being followed. Now, there's a protocol at the company that if one of the you know, the partners gets kidnapped or something happened to him, this emergency secret protocol goes into place and the other one is followed and extra protection. She does not like that for obvious reasons, right? But Otto, right, he's been reviewing what's been going on and he's like, what's been going on? Naturally. So in order to protect her secret from the facts, you know, Mysterio, she fires him. And I think this is brilliant as well, because I was thinking, how is he going to turn bad? How is he going to get pissed off? How is he going to become the villain that he's going to become? So her firing him straight, she does it like that. She does it like that, unquestionably, because he's discovering what's going on, I think he's going to find out.
Way too close.
This master plan. Yeah. So when we get a flashback to the previous issues, the previous issue where Pete and Harry are in the Mole Man's world being hunted by Craven, and we find out what really happened. So what happened was Craven killed Harry. That's what we saw, but it isn't what happened. It's what we saw, because Mysterio, master of illusions, what he did is he turned up and he grabbed Harry and says, just be quiet and watch. And then the whole thing played out as we saw in the previous issue. And we learned that actually he isn't dead. He is very, very much alive. All right. So, as you know, in the last issue, Pete beats the living snot out of Craven. And he's there. He's beaten. And guess what happens? This is the bit that really, really got me. I thought it was amazing. And then it got even better. So Pete runs off, obviously, because Pete needs to escape. And Craven's left there, battered and bruised. And Mysterio, just point blank, shoots him straight in the head.
Yeah.
And we think, wow, Mysterio's a bad guy. But then we figure out Mysterio isn't a bad guy. Mysterio's a bad girl. It's fucking Gwen Stacy. She's taken over the mantle of Mysterio now. She is ascended. She has become the Mysterio. And it was her. And I thought, oh my God. Like, it's mind-blowing. I was like, literally mind-blowing. And he's like, Harry's like, what's going on? What's going on? So obviously she has to explain it to him, and they join forces. And then the issue ends where it began, with Harry turning up in the rain, of course, to visit his own grave. And he says, right, no more secrets. We're a team. We're going to work together. And I literally went, turn on OBS, turn on the comics, turn everything on, record a video, because it was incredible, right? I mean, it was incredible.
He can't be suspected as the Green Goblin if he's dead, right?
No, it's such a clever way of doing it, you know. Like bringing someone back that's been killed is a done thing, but doing it this way is brilliant, and it also serves a really good purpose. Because Spider-Man and Harry could become villain.
It was a gut shot when they killed Harry, man. I was just like, I understand why they did it, but I was just like, oh, okay. And no, you're gonna bring back, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same as that. But what I do like about this is that now the Goblin is, according to Peter, some mystery bloke is going to be in that Goblin suit. They can become villains because Harry's cuffs are off, gloves are off for Harry. Harry wants to kill. Harry wants to do the bad things. Where Peter was like, you know, they had that whole discussion about holding him back. Now he's not going to be held back. So I think that's how they become kind of enemies,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna, yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I think there's a bit of a nod there to, you know, the old, is it Tobey Maguire films where he beating up the goblin and it's like, oh my God, it's you. But like, works so well. And again, Marco Checchetto. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I need to read his run on Daredevil with Chip Zdarsky. That's a blind spot. I haven't read that yet. I need to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. He's just incredible. Like this is this is a perfect team for Spider-Man. Like I mean, how old am I? 50. I probably, when can you like basically read, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been reading Spider-Man at least 40, 45 years, right? Let's be honest. And I have lots of favorite runs. And this for me is up there. It's one of my favorite
Yeah,
runs
no,
of
yeah,
all time.
100%.
You know?
100% agree with that, Angelo.
Yeah.
It's the best book Marvel are putting out every month.
And he's captured, like, he just gets, I mean, Jonathan gets the character, but also Marco's, his visions of these characters, his styling, his everything about it, it just screams to me everything that is these characters. I loved it.
Yeah,
It's a
same.
shame the rest of the Ultimate series isn't very good.
Well, yeah, we don't need to touch on that though.
No, we're not going to. We're not going to. We're not going to. But okay, let's check out the next book, Jim.
Oh yeah,
You caught up?
I am. Yeah, this was wonderful. Yeah,
It's not often, is it? It's not often an indie book punches you so hard in the feels and the good and the face, and you fall in love with it. I'm obsessed with this book. Like I am absolutely obsessed with it. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. So
yeah.
I did an issue 1 video, and I said it was an 11 out of 10 flawless first issue.
I mean,
I
no
was
hyperbole
worried.
there.
No, I was worried this issue might drop down to a 9 or 10, but it did not. It did not.
It just elevated. It just wow. I mean,
It did. And the art and the colors. So I mentioned about Stefano Landini's art in this book, and it is incredible. Again, it's like when it's like that perfect storm of creators coming together for this, you know. And and often we don't mention the colorists and the letterists. So Jason Wordy and
that's true. We
Hassan,
don't.
yeah, Otsman Al-Hal, I think that's how you pronounce it. Their work on this just elevates it even further. It is an incredible book. So, long story short, first issue follows Annalise. Her father is this scientist, a mad scientist. They are in some secluded cliffside hideaway, hiding from the world. He's working on some very important project which is going to save the world or save the world from itself. We discover he also has a future. Maybe he was a vigilante, a supervillain. He was a costumed character of some sort many years ago called the Viltrumite, right? Is that correct?
Yep. Vitruvian.
Vitruvian. I was thinking Invincible there. Vitruvian.
Yeah.
And he's ruthless. He's ruthless. Now she's a young girl, Annalise. She wants attention from her father. He's dedicated to work. It's one of his classic stories. Also, there are these kind of robot android dudes that are a bit sarcastic. They're pretty much what you'd expect. They're killer robots and also her playmates. And end of last issue, not to go through everything that happened in it, they've been discovered and they've sent Rook, who is the world's super spy. He's a booze drinking, drug taking, philandering, super spy. Okay? He's Archer. He's an Archer. Yeah.
Sterling Archer.
He's
tactical turtleneck.
Yeah. Now he's come in with a hammer and blown the shit out of the building. And at the end of the issue 1, Annalise is under some rubble and the rubble's lifted up, and there's one of these androids saying, "Come, we're gonna take you to safety." Right. So we kind of already know from the solicits that basically inside the suit is her father, basically, right, or his consciousness. I'm not kind of sure what yet, but she doesn't know that yet. But we do because it's across all the solicits. Anyway, we go back to a little bit earlier. And we see the devastation unfold. We see her father die. And then we're thrown into these really cool characters. The Unknown Man, the Pangean, Mr. Perfect, Lord Mortis, and Asanya Plague.
Now, tell you what this reminded me of. Sorry, man. I don't know if you ever used to watch The Venture Brothers. But
I did not.
Oh, really? Okay. You need to check that show out. It's amazing. But I just got huge Guild of Calamitous Intent vibes from these shadowy figures. Just saying.
Also reminds me of Invincible because it has an Invincible feel, this book, I will say.
Yeah.
Yes. So they're all very they're all characters, let's say. They're all very eccentric. Obviously part of some sort of secret society called Vale, I think, right?
Mhm.
And they're behind lots of things that go on in the world. And we discover that her father, Dr. Alderman, the Vitruvian, was once amongst their fold. He was a member. They thought he was dead. They didn't even realize he was still around. But news has come that he's been found. So they have this back and forth about what to do. And they decide, we need to go and save him because, like, he's one of us and other reasons. But they have to make unanimous decisions to happen. And one of them, the one that's in shadow, is Sonia Plague, who I'm going to reckon he obviously wronged, may even be Annalise's mother, because that's what you would usually expect. Maybe there's a twist, right?
Okay.
She says no. So they say, okay, they step back. He's on his own. And then we jump back and we find Annalise being rescued by the robot. And they're under attack by all these special forces that are coming in and the special agent. And she also hasn't twigged. She doesn't know that her father's in it, right? So as far as she's concerned, he's the automaton. She needs to do what he says. And she's very much that sort of arrogant child that you expect at that age. She's like, I'm doing this, you're just a robot, do what I say. And it's really well done. I love the characterizations. And also you've got like these agents that are coming in trying to kill. They're funny. They're the humor in this.
Oh yeah,
And
it's really funny.
I mean, did you like the humor in this? It was done again. It's so well done.
I love the humor in this. It was very Venture Brothers, very Archer. I like it.
Good. I'm glad you're loving this book.
Sorry, I've only got those 2 touch points there.
I know. I was hoping you're going to talk for hours in this show, but you're not saying much. I'm going to get in trouble. They're going to say, give us more Jim. Give us more Jim. I'm like, he's right there. He's just not saying much. All right. Okay. Right. So where are we? We go back to Lord Mortis, right? And he, again, he's funny as hell. He decides that he's not listening to the rest of the group and he's going to go save them, right? So it's really funny back and forth with his butler about, where's his cloak? I can't find my cloak.
That's right, yeah. It's not a cloak, it's a cloak. Yeah,
yeah, it's hilarious. And this sort of jumps in between what he's doing and what's happened to Annalise. So they've caught up with Annalise. They're deciding whether to kill her or not. But, Mr. Robot turns back up and absolutely vapes them. She grabs a gun and she shoots some of these guys as well, which I found quite surprising, actually.
To violence, yeah. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, a young girl, I think it sets the tone for this character that she's going to become absolutely no shit taken.
Shit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, whew. Okay. So, again, she's telling this robot what to do, but it's not listening. So she says the other robots that are there, right, she can tell, excuse me, she wants to go off and do what she wants, but he's saying, no, come with me. We've got to go. And she goes, no. I want to go find my father. Right. I'm not leaving without him. And she says, look, you're supposed to do what I say. And he's like, yes, well, I'm not going to. Right. So it's like this robot's different, which is, again, I think it's her father obviously taking control. But the other robots, they are still as programmed, right? So she tells those robots to keep him there. She's smart as fuck. And she takes her off and with her.
That was a nice touch.
It was a nice touch.
Literally hold on to it.
Yeah, I love it. And then now we jump to London, who's like the head of, Secret Service, right? The Secret Service is there. And his butler's telling him that Rook, the secret agent, we've got a bit of a problem, right? Alderman's been found. Rook's gone in there with a sledgehammer. He's got half the Navy involved in special forces without permission. What are we going to do? And I'm not going to spoil these panels because, again, the humor in here I found hilarious, all right? I thought it was really, really well done. And I tell you what, I love some of these panel choices. From all the panels that you could choose of this guy, getting up and taking a piss, we get a toilet's view up of him taking a piss. And it's these subtle little bits of humor which take this, what I'm assuming is going to be quite a dark book. And it just adds that little, extra element to it. I think it really does elevate it. Anyway, he realizes they're in big shit. And they've got to do something about it. So they decide that they need to go find out what he's doing and basically try and stop the damage that he's going to be causing. And we jump straight back to the island. She's in there. She's going in there to find her dad. She finds the vampire rapes that were rumored. which is really, really cool. And then she finds her basically her father who's dead. So he is dead, right? But luckily his lab assistant is there, and he says, "Look, we've got to save you. We've got to save you." You also see her shoot the shit out of something coming out of the smoke, and it happens to be the robot, not the baddies. But it does show her again. She's not in the mood, right? She will shoot first, ask questions later. She is going to be formidable. If she's not formidable now, she will be formidable as an adult, because this book is really, I think, it's about her revenge. Is what I think where this book's going. I think it's going to play a big part in this, right? Anyway, they decide that they've got to go to this little secret cove. There's a boat there that they can escape on. We get there, the boat's been sunk, but there's a dinghy, but it only fits 2. Now, this is really cool, this part here, these last 2 panels, because they tricked me. Because the human is doing his little magic to the robot, saying, swim out to this place. There's an emergency beacon, right? Because they said only 2 fit on this dinghy. So you think his assistant and the girl are going to get on. But no, that's not true. It's the robot and the girl. And she's like, what's going on? I'm not letting this happen. I'm not letting this happen. Shows she has some morals. But obviously the assistant knows that it's her father in there. So he sacrifices himself so they can escape. Yeah, and then blows the whole place up.
You'll get this reference. I thought her father and Willie, his assistant, had a very Dr. Benson Quest from Johnny Quest and Ray Spannon sort of relationship. Did you get that from it?
Well, I haven't seen Venture, have I?
No.
I haven't seen Venture Bros. Johnny Quest. Again, that's something I dipped into as a kid, but I was never huge into it.
Are you not reading the Joe Casey?
I am not.
Oh,
I'm hearing
really
good things about it. I'm just not.
Okay.
Well, I'll add it to the list, Jim. I'll add it to the list. Maybe we can talk about that in another episode. Yeah, it really is. So, we see Rook there. And he just this doesn't give a shit guy. He does whatever he wants, right? He just wants to get the mission over and done with, and that's where he lives. So 3 hours later, they get picked up by a trawler, and they think they're saved. But we find out, actually, it is the dude from earlier. It's one of the Vitruvian's old friends, part of that coven, and they're going from one dangerous situation to potentially another dangerous situation, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, I could see that coming though. From the minute I read the accent of the sailor, I was just like, yeah, it's definitely that guy with the cloak.
I loved it. This is my new favorite book. I think this can become as massive as Invincible. It's got all the hallmarks of an incredible TV show ahead of it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's. I've been waiting years for books like this, and Mr. Rosenberg and Mr. Landini, thank you very much. So, Jim, what do you want to add? Because I've got nothing to say apart from the fact it's, again, 11 out of 10, flawless issue.
I'm just enjoying the ride, man. Really, really cool story.
Look at that art as well. Look at that art.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Art. And the colouring and the lettering, everything about it is amazing.
Great package. Well done,
I think I know, mate, but is this ongoing or a mini? I forget. I've forgotten. It's in my main review.
I think it's
I mentioned it.
I think it's a mini.
If it's a mini, I think it's 6 issues. And I hope to God that it is so popular. They say, listen, Matthew Rosenberg, just get some more out, because 6 issues just isn't enough. It is not enough.
It is branded as a Rook. On the cover, it's branded as a Rook story, isn't it? So
it is.
I'm assuming that they're going to continue that character even if we don't see all of them.
It is. I think to explain the fact that the comic industry right now is absolutely awash with miniseries, it's because comics aren't doing what comics used to do. The ongoing series that are ongoing now are usually established flagship characters from the big 2, let's say, or maybe from the big 2. So publishers are selling less comics, so they're trying to take less risks. So what they do is instead of announcing all these ongoing, just gets cancelled at issue 6 and fans get pissed off, or the books aren't very good, and they're ongoing and they're not selling and they turn to oblivion. They're putting out lots and lots and lots of miniseries to see what sticks. And if it sticks, maybe then go, oh, here comes volume 2 or issue 7 or whatever. And I think that's what's happening here with Image as well, because, Image is a business and comics are not doing as well as they used to. So I think a lot of this is to throw out as many miniseries as possible. Mad Cave do it a lot. and see
And
what
see
sticks.
sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's just business, and it makes sense to me. It makes absolute sense. I just hope that these gems of books, they get the attention they deserve, because I find a lot of the books that are getting attention out there just don't even deserve it. And it's more about the controversy behind who's writing it and the message in the book, as opposed to the story. And these books, they get pushed down the news cycle. And I want my channel to change a little bit, to really push these independent books, because they deserve it. And again, like you say, a Rook spy thriller. So Rosenberg started his own sort of imprint, Ashcan Press. And this I think is one of the first books where it's Image Ashcan, not just Image. So I'm going to assume that this is a huge step for him, sort of becoming a publisher, I guess. So nice. I'm pretty certain. I'm pretty certain we're going to see more, because if it carries on like this, it's going to be up there. Again, another amazing book. This is a good week, Jim. This is a really good week. The seasons, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, Rick Remender, Paul Azaceta have done an amazing job of this issue as well. Right before, is this issue 4? Yeah, issue 4. So usually a book like this, by issue 4, either it's sink or swims, right? 3 issues, you kind of think, is it going to stay good? And does it stay good? It stays good.
Oh yeah, we're definitely swimming.
We are swimming. So the seasons there's 4 sisters aptly named after the season. So summer, spring, autumn, and winter. Spring, she's the youngest. She's discovered that something bad is happening. Their parents died 10 years ago. They were great detectives. One of her sisters went to investigate it. She's vanished, sent a sort of SOS message saying, look out, there's some crazy shit about to happen. The circus is coming to town. They're bad. They have turned up to town. And she's trying to convince her other sister who lives with her that they're bad. Right. But her sister just isn't listening. So she's kind of left on her own. Right. She's kind of left on her own to protect everybody from what's going on. And she has this little conversation with her fish all the way through the book. And I love that, by the way. It's a nice little touch. So we get a flashback to something that explains what's been going on in the first 3 issues, right? If you remember the first issue, there was a town, and there was a mirror, and everyone was looking to mirror, and they were laughing and they were maniacal. And this circus had brought this sort of terror to this town. So this actually kind of explains the history behind the mirror.
I absolutely love this sequence. I thought it was really Fables-esque. Yeah, definitely.
It really was, right, mate? So yes, so there was this great warrior. I want to paraphrase a lot of it. He went on this ultimate journey. He found this crypt, this crypt of Rinildor, and he finds this beautiful, beautiful woman there. She's wrapped in silken cloth, and she says, "Listen, I tell you what. If I give you 500 perfect years of life, yeah, all right, you can have them, but you will be the happiest you've ever been. It will be perfect. But after those 500 years, you must return here and take my place." And he says, yes. So that's the back history of this mirror. And sure enough, 500 years later, he did come back, and he, without complaint, got into the sort of sarcophagus or whatever with the mirror. And now he is captured within there forever, as the story goes, right? So that was eons ago. So she finds this out. And then we jump to her sister, Summer, who is the epitome of a Hollywood diva. All right. She is so vapid. All right. She's not very nice. I mean, on the surface, she's beautiful, but underneath, she is ugly. She's not very pleasant to anybody. She's all about the fame.
Starlet.
A typical starlet, yeah. So she's come back to the hometown because she's been invited to this event. Currently, this event's been drummed up to be something that's going to be special. You'll find out how that happened in previous issues if you're jumping on board here. So she's come, of course, to sort of be at the event of the year. And this whole event is geared up just for her. So we find this weird carnival here with all these strange characters there. And she makes her beautiful entrance. And some of the little villains here, you'll notice from previous issues, all right? I won't go into the story, but they're bad guys. And she's trying to stop Summer from going in there because she knows something bad will happen. And then boom, the show. And from here, this issue. And usually I don't like this kind of stuff, but I did. I really loved it. The whole thing is done in that perfect circus rhyme. Everything rhymes. Yeah. It's a brilliant little story. And he takes the crowd, and specifically Summer, on this sort of daydream.
it was entrancing, man.
E-
It was just,
Exactly.
yeah, I
Exactly.
couldn't look away.
No,
Yeah,
neither could I,
that's
and neither could the crowd. Except Summer wasn't that impressed. I know she was the one person in the crowd not impressed. But did she fall for the trick? Of course she did, because they promised her all this admiration and all this beauty. They appealed to her ego. So she walks up the sort of, I don't know, I say stairs or the ramp, and as she does, her clothes whittle away, and she becomes sort of gowned in this beautiful robe that matches all the crazy of everything's going on. And this is where it gets even more trippy. And she's like, you could be yourself. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I know what's happening here. They found that vapid person that would want to spend 500 years completely in love with
yeah,
herself,
100%.
everything being beautiful. Oh, are they going to try and trap her with the mirror? And sure enough,
100%. That's what they do. Chilling. That
I
moment, that
know. I'm
final
thinking,
panel.
does
Oh my
Spring get
God.
in there and push the mirror away, or does her sister get trapped?
She's not allowed in there till tomorrow, is she?
But
It's
she might have
tomorrow.
snuck in. Oh my God, what do you think, my man?
Yeah, I absolutely love this again. They're continuing the course with this. It's the beautiful daydream Ghibli-esque nightmare. You know,
It is very Ghibli, very Ghibli. I said that I think in the first issue.
I think we both
It
did.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, it's so beautiful. I love the art. I love the characters. Again, it's. I'm hypercritical, but when I do find a book I love, I just gush about it continually. And there's not been many this or last year. There's a handful, but like getting the seasons
It's getting
4.
better. It's getting better.
It really is getting the seasons 4 and Mr. Rosenberg's perfect book all in the same week was just like, oh my God, comics are back. This is what Marvel need to and DC need to learn, I think, is finding creators like this that can do something different and can make a difference to the characters that they're writing. I know Rosenberg's done quite a bit for Marvel, anyway. Remender's done his bit as well. But there are other creators just like this which are emerging, which need to be given a chance because everyone's trying to rely on the old guard. And the thing about being old is that, like in anything, you're not as good as you were in your youth, for the most part, and it's upsetting. But they can learn a thing or two. Okay, we're on to the next book,
No,
if it
that's
wants to
it.
play ball. So we've had is that all the books?
That's the 5 books.
Oh man,
That's what we read. Yeah.
I expected more. I could do this forever. So all in all, what do you think of Marvel and DC stuff this week? Did you read much of it?
I haven't really read anything outside the books that I
No?
read for the show this week, unfortunately. No.
Oh. That's a shame.
But I doesn't mean I'm not going to. I've got a stack I've got to read tonight. So
Yeah, I've been trying to read more books this week and from both Marvel and DC. I mean, there's a lot of chaff, but there's a couple of good ones in there. Okay, so this is this week over, my friend. What are we looking forward to next week? I don't even know.
that's
Next
a good
week's book?
question.
Yeah.
Next week's books. Give me a
Do
second.
you know what? Before we do that, book of the week, it's going to be difficult, right?
Oh,
I don't think I could choose.
The book of the week for me is Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mate, honestly, this is the first time I can't choose. Ultimate Spider-Man was amazing. Right, we're taking everyone down with us. Amazing. The seasons, amazing.
They were all.
I can't choose. I can't choose.
But just this everything that Hickman put into that story when he didn't need to go that hard, just won me over. That was just
brutal, right?
fantastic.
Absolutely brutal. So what do we got next week? Let's have a look. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to while you figure out what you're looking forward to. What was your? So you told me, yeah. Ultimate. I can't do it. No, I can't do it. I'm not going to choose. Okay, what we got next week? Ultimate Spider-Man, which you're going to look at. Amazing Spider-Man 3, Black Canary. I think that's the last part of that series. Blood and Thunder is a new #1, which I'm hoping is going to be cool. You should look into that. Look up Blood and Thunder. Yeah. We got Fantastic Four Fanfare. I guess the Fantastic Four books gearing up for the movie are going to start flooding in. We've got Free Planet #1, another #1 we should look at. Pop Kill 3's out, which I need to catch up on because the first issue was brilliant. And there's another new #1 which follows this trend in having really long titles. We only go out when it gets dark. So I think for me, that's what I'm looking forward to, and hopefully I'll get to review them. Well, what about you, my man?
We're in May, aren't we? So
we are in May.
So Adventure Time issue 2. I'm looking forward to that. It was a really strong first issue from Oni Press.
Okay.
Pendleton Ward's magnum opus continues. Absolute Superman. Jason Aaron starts his second arc, so that should be pretty cool.
I'm starting to enjoy it now, by the way.
Moon is Following Us by Daniel Warren Johnson. That's nearing the end now. 9th issue out of 10. Really stunning stuff from him. There's a Star Wars issue 1 from Alex Segura where they're picking up the story between the end of Return of the Jedi and the start of The Force Awakens. So they're going to fill in between those that time period. So yeah, there's some cool stuff coming. X-Men by Jed McKay, which I'm falling out of love with again, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm still going to keep reading.
It's not the best, is it? It's not the best.
So yeah, hopefully we can come to some interesting
fingers crossed. The whole X9 needs a revamp, I think. I know Uncanny's the best of the bunch.
Gail Simone's doing great.
That's I did say that. I did say Uncanny's the best of the bunch, but there's just too many X books. I did like a Marvel's preview video the other day, and I looked at how many books are coming out, and I'm thinking, there's just so many. And like, why? I don't know. Anyway, that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope this sort of new version is good. People like it. We'll try and get more Jim in next week. He'll have some more things to say because people love you, Jim. They don't come for me. They come for you because you're the nice one. But say goodbye, Jim. We'll catch everyone next week.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Laters.